You're listening to Boggy Talk, Faith Conversations in the Mud, a resource of Church on Bayshore.
Hey, and thanks for joining us today on Boggy Talk.
Oh, I think you mean
Noggy Talk.
Because it's December.
Yes.
It's time.
Sadly, Justin and I did not plan to synchronize that.
You didn't. Well, good job, you guys. That's awesome. Well, Christmas time is here. I can't believe it.
So many songs in my head. So many songs in my head.
Tell me
what's the line after that? Christmas time is here.
Snowflakes, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I just hear the Charlie Brown kids singing it.
Yeah.
That's good. Tell me y'all have finally decorated, because I know
Yeah.
you hold out,
can't
right?
Well, yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta enjoy pumpkin spice.
Yeah,
Okay.
this year because of D-Now, we didn't. I usually we decorate before we leave town for Thanksgiving, and this year I would have done it the week before, like on D-Now weekend, because I like to enjoy it even before we go, but we couldn't. So we decorated before we left town. And funny enough, Christy does not love the decorating part because she's just I love it, and she likes it when it's done, and then she likes.
You
to
could
sit
live
down.
in Whoville.
I could. It'd be fun.
You
I
could
like
live.
it. I like it. And I'm not ashamed.
You kind of look like a who.
I got my nose is way. Well, my nose is my nose is way too big.
Do they have small noses in Whoville?
They have tiny little pointy noses.
Yeah,
Mine's
okay.
way too
Pointy
big.
noses.
They don't have the forebrow that I've got either.
Well,
let me confess all the other things I'm self-conscious about.
I'm surprised the lights didn't flash like
last week.
My 8-year-old daughter was saying something, and she said to me, which she kind of was like she could live in Whoville. She was like, "You're handsome, except your nose." I was like, "Dang!"
Wow.
Thanks. Thanks for your. I'm so glad you're honest.
I was like, and you have freedom, except when you go to bed at 6:00 tonight.
That's right. Yeah. Don't
No
make fun
hard
of it because it
feelings.
could be in your genes.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
she's adopted. So.
Oh, I thought it was you're talking about Lily.
No.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Lily. Sorry for that joke. I thought
Well,
that sounds like something Lily would say.
Yeah, it does indeed sound like something. Lily has figured out that if she furrows her brow, that Face ID thinks it's her. My phone thinks.
No
it's her.
way.
Oh, that's
To do
funny.
That
That's really
is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
We tested out Face ID with Christy and her sister, because they're
Oh,
twins.
Did it work?
It works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Nate and
pretty
Cam
good.
actually it works.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
That's wild. And they don't. I mean, they look like
Yeah,
brothers, but they
yeah.
don't look that.
I bet Eliza and Sam probably works.
It probably does. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't. We should test it.
Yes,
we will.
you should test that
Yeah.
out.
Jackson and Leah probably works.
No, not at all.
Isaac and Josiah. Today.
Chris and Aaliyah probably
Yeah,
would,
that's true,
for
that's
sure.
true.
That is very
So-
true.
Okay,
Oh
what were
my
you talking
goodness.
about?
Well, we're talking
Noggy
about
talk.
Christmas time.
We have
Whoville.
not been drinking the Noggy talk.
Whoville. No.
Whoville.
What's in these cups?
Christmas at Bayshore. What's going on?
Yes.
Christmas at Bayshore.
All the things.
Yeah. So, I mean, on Sunday, December 8th, we've got choir singing
About
some
time.
Christmas songs. It'll be
Your
great.
cantata? It's your cantata?
It's our version of that.
Okay.
It's just, the choir's leading worship, and they're singing a couple of Christmas songs.
Okay.
It'll be a sweet time.
Yeah.
Powerful time.
Awesome.
It's always a highlight. And then, I mean,
Don't we have
Christmas Eve.
kids
But don't forget about the
choir?
15th.
Yeah,
Yeah, another
15th,
choir.
15th, we got kids choir.
Yeah.
Our 1st through 5th graders will be leading us in
Okay,
worship.
okay.
That day. We got Christmas Eve services.
Yes. What
all
time?
day on
All
Christmas Eve.
day.
No, you
I'm
get the
just
morning.
kidding.
You
2
get the
o'clock.
morning.
Well, we have to be here to rehearse. So 2 o'clock, and then 3:30, and then 5 o'clock, and then 6:30. All of which are the same service. All of which have candlelight and communion. So people always ask that question, even though it's been the same for a lot of years.
Well,
We do have childcare in
And there is preschool. Kids
5:30
ministry
or 5.
at 5. Yes.
Yeah.
Preschool is available at 5 o'clock for those who would not like to bring their small children in a room with a lot of open flames.
Open flames.
So, yeah.
Well, that's going to be exciting.
but once they're in kindergarten, they're ready for the open
They're
flames.
definitely ready
Yeah.
for the open
Preschool.
flames.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of Christmas parties. So there's
Lots of
life
Christmas
groups, Christmas
parties.
parties, and we try to show up be there as many we can. So
Yeah,
There's
I
a
love
lot of Christmas parties.
A lot.
Yeah.
And then we have the week off. I'll be here on
Nice.
Sunday, the 29th. But
Ninth.
beyond that, most
Yeah.
Yeah.
offices are closed.
Yeah,
It's a sweet
kind of
it's a sweet reset.
It is. It's a
Yeah.
much needed, because at the end of the year, people have worked hard, and
Yeah,
people
a
are
lot
tired,
going on.
and so yeah.
Well, that's going to be awesome. Looking forward to that. Well, speaking of Christmas, why do we have an emphasis on Christmas? Like, why does it matter?
I feel like you just said, who cares about Christmas?
What's the big deal?
What's the big deal, guys?
Well,
Jesus.
Jesus is the big deal. I think because
What is the meaning of Christmas, Justin?
presents.
How do you spell that?
Candy
though?
canes. Yeah.
How do you
the
spell it?
presence
Oh,
of
there we
Jesus.
go.
It's not
That's
about
right.
the presents under the tree. It's about the presents on the cross.
That's right.
Ooh.
Dude, you know, I think
Or in the manger.
Christmas.
Sorry,
in
it's
the manger.
Christmas.
That's right. But I think, I mean, really, the incarnation that Jesus Christ did come, the Word of God, the Word made flesh.
Did he dwell among us?
He did.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Thank you, John. But I think this is. I think I mentioned last week in our life group, we've been going through 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and there's 2 major heresies that were part of that culture in the early church, and one, Gnosticism, which taught that no matter is evil, and one was Docetism, which taught that Christ, he wasn't really, he was just the figure of a man.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't actually a man. He just appeared to be, and how that really sells short
Yeah.
who Jesus is, that he became flesh and he became man. And ultimately that secures for us, I mean, he died and rose again. It secures for us, mankind, redemption and resurrection for us. So it is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It all fits together, right?
Yeah.
The incarnation. I mean, the resurrection, none of it matters without the resurrection. But then we're not saved without the crucifixion. But then it never happened without the incarnation.
Yeah.
And there's so many prophecies about it. Like, I think the reason thinking about this is such a big deal, because there's people who are like, well, we don't celebrate Christmas, I'm like, I think it is very appropriate to at least probably within the year to reflect on the incarnation of Christ, mostly because how many things were prophesied about that and how they came true in him. And Emmanuel, God with us, like it is an emphasis on the nearness of God, and its presence for real in our lives. And that's true beyond that 33 years, but it really is culminating in those 33 years in a big way. And so,
I think
there's so many prophecies about Jesus.
Yeah, so many prophecies, and Mary knew. So, but I
also
think,
kinda didn't.
but also
Anyway,
kind of
that's
didn't.
on you.
I had a conversation with somebody about that song recently. How I'm like, I'm fine with it. But I think, when we think about the 2 major holidays for us as Christians, Christmas and Easter, I think Easter is so much. There's so much rightful hope, a rightful emphasis on our future hope because of what the cross and the resurrection secures for us. And I mean, there's present hope in that as well too. But I think Christmas, specifically Emmanuel, God with us, for me, it's a reminder of our present hope now, which is also informed by our future hope. I think the present hope of, Jesus did come to earth. He is Emmanuel, God with us. And he tells us he's not leaving us as orphans. He sent his Spirit with us and lives in us. So I think there's a line in a Christmas song. It's one of the most beautiful Christmas songs that's not well known. It's called "Here with Us" by Joy Williams, and there's a line in it that says, "His ears have heard an angel's symphony, yet Mary still had to rock her baby to sleep." And I'm like, that's amazing! Like, what a beautiful way to frame like how eternal and omnipotent and holy he is, but he became flesh, and I think that's the present hope. Man, I get teary-eyed just thinking about that line. I'm like, it's just amazing. Like,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the weight of Yahweh in human form is just, how do you really wrap your brain around that?
And knowing he did that, but there was nothing that was going to stop him either. Like God is powerful. And I think when we are in positions of humbleness, vulnerability, to trust in God's hand. And the clearest way that we see that is Christ. If he did not spare his own son, how will he not with him graciously give us all things? So he's for us, but he's also, he's not like, if we die for somebody, that's very noble, but then we're dead and we can't help them anymore.
Yeah.
But Jesus came and died and still helps us. That's how great God is, so yeah.
Yeah. Application of that is so cool. It's funny what you guys mentioned, the prophecies. We were kind of talking about this in life group, and just how, when Jesus, because we're studying Mark, and so many people just, missed it and all of these things. But, the 3 wise men, they figured it
They're
out
dialed
where
in.
to go.
They're dialed in.
Took a while to get there. But they
It's
just
just
kept
interesting
going.
when you think about like those two different, but that was, I mean, obviously all in God's plan, but it's just
Yeah.
kind of a funny thing to think about sometimes. So how do we keep that as...
This reminds me, we bought this nativity and it had 4 wise men.
Oh.
And we were like, was that oh, they're just trying to be like, hey, there might not only been 3. Like they
That's
wanted
just
to
a
make sure.
statement,
Like,
yeah.
like
I was
yeah.
thinking because
It's
one
like-
breaks, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't the reformed
extra.
nativity that was trying to make sure,
Yeah.
don't you follow that
Denominational.
cultural.
that's funny.
Anyway.
Well, how do we make sure that we keep this focus about what Christmas is truly about, keeping Christ as a center?
We wear T-shirts that say things like "Jesus is the reason for the season."
That's right.
Okay.
When we check out at Walmart and they say "Happy,
Happy
holidays,"
holidays.
we say "Merry Christmas."
Christmas.
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 That's right. I mean, that's how you do it.
Okay.
You vote for Trump.
Going there
Oh,
today.
man, he would be a great Santa Claus
I
with that
know,
dance,
that's
right?
right.
As dance?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
dance. I'm dancing. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you send me the Baptist allow dancing again in church?
Yes,
I
okay.
saw that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I think
So-
I already saw it. I don't know if
Emily
I
sent me
it.
that. Emily
Yes,
Lewis. Yeah,
yes.
yep.
She's good about stuff
Yeah,
like that.
she's
She finds the funny things.
yeah. No, I mean, last week, if you go back to last week and we talked about gratitude, I mean, it really goes back to being thankful. I mean, that's how you keep Christ in Christmas. You realize, like, this is about Jesus coming
Yeah.
for me. Like, this isn't about presents. Those are fine.
Yeah.
This isn't
Yeah.
about where we can go on a trip and
Yeah.
have a holiday memory and have a great Instagram post, even though those things are fine.
Yeah.
It's about Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. I think
You bratty kids. Oh, sorry.
I'm also saying that in the mirror. Right?
I know, right?
I mean, that is you have to do it. Like you have to say Jesus is the center of this
Yeah.
holiday, and you also like enjoy the fun things about it. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the fun traditions that your family, your friends, or
You're starting
whatever
to sound
have.
like that Kirk Cameron
But
video. Did you ever see that?
No, I've
Oh, okay.
not seen anything
Yeah.
Kirk Cameron in a while.
It was like,
probably-
and the presents. This is why we should have presents because they look like the city of Jerusalem.
Oh.
that's
I
a
was like,
stretch.
bro,
Wow.
come on, man.
That's-
Come
no.
on, man.
Like that's when
Trying
when
way
you start
too
trying
hard.
to make stuff up to make it sound
Christy and I
spiritual.
were dying.
Just be
laughing
like,
watching it. You should watch it.
It wasn't
you
a
should have
comedy?
some nog and watch it. No,
just be
I'm
like,
just kidding. Just
presents are fun. Jesus likes fun.
Yeah, yeah.
like,
There you go.
But I think, finding small ways and big ways to do that, I think our kids ministry, the Christmas in a Box, that's a great way to, intentionally do something like that.
Yeah.
But also just, keep boundaries and don't
Yeah.
let yourself like get caught up, like intentionally don't let yourself get caught up in
Yeah.
the things you got to buy and do. And I think just, scheduling some time to rest during this season is, to like spiritual rest and physical rest and being sure that we do that is a huge part of really keeping Christ in the center.
The first thing, we're not in any way the perfect family at all. And like family worship, I think that doesn't really happen in my house. So like,
Right.
But on Christmas morning, like we really do, the first thing we do, I get up early and have coffee so that I'm not irritable.
ready for the day.
But
Yeah.
then we read the Christmas story before opening presents. And it's a sweet moment. Our
Yeah.
kids get it, and it's a reminder. We pray, and then we open our presents. And I think, I think if you're doing that, not to prove a point, but with sincerity of heart, I think it matters. And then from a corporate level, like I do think gathering with the church, is really great.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
grow up in
absolutely.
that. So it's kind of foreign to me. And so when I actually like planted a church, we didn't even start doing that at first. And then it did become something. And it's just sweet.
Like for Christmas Eve.
Yeah, for Christmas Eve. And it really just is sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's just there's something special about
It is, yeah.
coming together that night. It really is. So be there
At
Be-
2, 3:35, or
at-
6:30.
Yeah, it really is.
All the time.
And it's not just because it's a sentimental time. Like it's a worshipful time.
Absolutely.
It's a time, to remember.
And you do. I know that there's this argument about but like you're realizing like how many millions, if not billions, of people are doing the same thing
Right.
at
Yeah.
the same time, and have for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like this, it's really cool.
Yeah.
You know? So I think I do think it's helpful if you just say, hey, we're going to go. I mean, most churches like 50 minutes, right? We're going to go do that. I mean, obviously you can check off the box but like, I do think it's helpful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he referenced not getting pulled or however he said it in the different directions. Like, yeah, you're being
There's so
marketed
much.
to.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's hard to not think we need to be everywhere and do everything and have everything. It really is. And I think just keeping our hearts in check and just keep our hearts in check.
So, Kelly, you're a mom.
Yeah.
And I feel like moms are the ones that I often hear verbalizing that this is a struggle for them to not get caught up in the presents and all the things. So
all the
what would you
things.
say?
Well, I was thinking about it this year because in the past I've, like off for like 3 weeks. So
Yeah, it's true.
I'm like, okay, I've got to prioritize time and all of that. And I don't know. I think I'm just practical with things too. So I'm just very like, this is what we're going to do this year. And I'm just not going to stress out about it. It really doesn't actually stress me
Okay.
out too much.
Okay.
But I think that I probably have good boundaries with like what, activities and all of those kinds of things. And then Chris is super helpful. And so he's actually
gets
the one
into
that
this,
he's
yeah.
like, everybody needs to send me your Amazon list and we need to
I
get
can
all
see
this
that.
stuff
You wear
marked
just
off.
like Santa outfit the whole
So
like month.
no, not too much, but
Okay.
he's very on top of everything.
Yeah,
So
I would say for our family, this like entering into like now that we have our 4 older kids are teenagers, it kind of works out for presents that like the stuff that they want is actually stuff they need because we don't buy a lot throughout the year. I'm like, you're getting shoes because you need shoes and also you like shoes,
right.
So it's like, okay,
They
so
do
it's,
like all the clothes and fashion.
yeah, and it's
stuff,
actually
yeah.
stuff that they need because we aren't doing a ton during
Yeah.
throughout the year. So that's
I
a
do
little
try to
convenient
make
for the older
sure,
kids.
like to your point with reading
Sorry, kids,
and
I know
all
you're
of
getting
that.
shoes.
Do what?
I was just saying, sorry, kids who listen to this. You know you're getting shoes.
You're getting shoes this year, Wyatt, children. I like to do the little, the Christmas Advent things, just something, even if it's just small, not making it. And I think that's where moms kind of put like too much pressure that they're supposed to make it this like big, perfect, beautiful experience.
In Niceville, you think that happens?
Yeah.
No.
And I'm like, they're going to remember more how you acted
That's right.
than,
That's a good
the
word, Kelly
stuff
Brown.
if
That's
you're.
a good word.
So, and I'm preaching to myself here, like, trust. So,
Yeah, that's 100%
but,
true.
like, I don't want them to have that memory. It's just that, oh, mom's stressed and everything's crazy around the holidays.
Yeah,
like,
that's
I want
right.
it to be a time of, like, sweet family time, even if it's just small, but that we're remembering, the reason for the season.
That's
is,
right.
That's
but
Yeah.
and it doesn't. You don't have to make it a big deal either. Just
I think too, like a lot of people put themselves in a stressful situation because they spend too much on Christmas.
Yeah.
And like, your kid might be a little bummed that so-and-so got this and they didn't, that you couldn't afford and you don't know how that person afforded it. But like, they're going to get over that a lot quicker than you are. And I think sometimes like we project upon our children inadequacies and insecurities and feelings we have. And like you said, it's going to stress you out and ultimately it's going to affect how you act. And so like, I do think like even now it's December 2nd or whatever today is 4th. I don't know. It's December. Like I think saying like, hey, we're not going to let this get out of hand for us, you know? And I feel like if you stay the course with those kind of things, typically, I mean, kids are always going to pick the lowest hanging fruit. So some kids probably going to be like, you don't do this and you don't do that,
Yeah.
And you just got to stay the course,
Yeah.
with those kind of things. So.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm talking to myself more. Christy's like $100 each kid. Cause I mean, at 6 kids, it's already $600. You know?
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
adds up quick.
up.
Yeah,
they really want this. I don't talk
true.
like that. But.
that sounds like me.
And then all the families and all the
Yeah.
people, it adds up quickly. It gets expensive. Well, we have a little fun question here.
Okay.
What is your most embarrassing Christmas memory?
My most embarrassing Christmas memory is not Boggy Talk appropriate.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
Can that be on the secret content if you subscribe?
If you're a subscriber
subscribe.
for our first sponsor, I will tell the story. I mean, I'm trying to think of like super embarrassing or funny.
Should we get David and Wyatt to make a contribution if they don't want you to tell the story?
Yeah, they don't know if it's about them or not.
I know.
I do remember here at Christmas Eve, a kid caught their hair on fire.
Yeah.
With the candles.
Yeah, I won't say his name, but I knew who it was.
It smelled so... Burnt hair is one of the worst smells
I had to call the dad that night and be like,
you okay?
First of all, is he okay?
Yeah.
Second of all, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. I've never had that happen before. And I think I posted on Facebook that day because we had like record attendance for.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm making up a number, but I'm like 1,200 people on our campus, and only one caught their hair on fire.
Yeah.
Like,
Not joking either.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing.
My most embarrassing pastor memory for Christmas Eve or Christmas is that at my former church, and I think I'm referencing this on Christmas Eve just because it's so funny. In the movie Talladega Nights, he says there's this argument how he likes praying to blonde hair, blue-eyed baby Jesus, and they're debating that. And I had the clip played, and our production guy didn't cut it, and she says with the expletive, like, say the bleep grace.
No.
And this was in church on Christmas Eve.
No.
Man.
Not here.
And I'm like,
No, that's previous.
No.
My
I
gosh.
probably wouldn't be working here if it was so.
People,
I was like, that was supposed to be cut off.
Wow.
But you get the point.
Yeah,
And I'm like trying to recover from that.
Yeah,
Like, this
yeah.
is like 28-year-old me too,
yeah.
Oh
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, I was pretty.
I do remember a Christmas Eve service at a previous church where there was a man who didn't regularly attend, and he sat like on the second row, and that row was not very far from the platform, and he sang so loud in a very operatic voice, deep bass operatic, and it was slightly off key. And it was like I just
Like
remember
that?
it was like we were
Somebody
playing
just got scared.
and it was like, but it was like, oh come on. It was so loud.
I think was that at a church
was
that
that?
we were?
It was
a
an
different-
Emmanuel,
yeah, I was about to say.
Like,
I
were you
remember.
singing
No,
that Christmas Eve?
I
It
think
could have
it
been-
was.
But I also the worst part was
You
is
remember
like
this. That's so
the worst part
Yeah,
is
I
like
finally
he's like not far from me,
Your
and I'm
ear
like
is like-
dying, like because it's at this point I'm like he's completely not self-aware,
Right.
Yeah.
But like 4 or 5 rows back is another guy, and he made all kind of, and he was
I
laughing.
know. I try to.
I
when
was
something
like, I'm
happens here, I
trying.
can't look adjusting.
I'm like, I'm trying not to
Oh, no.
laugh because it's just everyone in the room is thinking it
Yeah.
except this guy, and it was.
I do. Now that you mentioned that, I remember that. And I'm such an ear-led
Yeah.
like singer,
Yeah.
and so it was like, trying to like really focus
Yeah.
and not let him.
Yeah, a
lead.
few
That
years,
was rough.
last year or 2 years ago for our Christmas Eve, I like to throw Easter eggs out to people, not like physical, but just like little things like, and so I know a faithful Boggy Talk listener, a running joke we have is that his favorite Christmas song is Christmas Shoes. And so at the end, when everyone's dismissing, I was just playing lightly on the piano, and I started playing Christmas Shoes.
oh my goodness.
And he
you
heard
didn't
it, and
tell
he
me
was
this.
like, "Oh my god!" No, yeah,
You didn't tell me
yeah.
this.
I just started playing it
Isn't
nice.
that
and
Josh Shore?
It's
Isn't that
Josh
his
Shore.
favorite
His
Christmas?
favorite. Yeah. So
Christmas shoes.
yes.
We've had some fun talks about Christmas. So personally, there's a video of me getting a Super Nintendo for Christmas.
Okay.
And my mom was the one who's like, we're not getting you anything for Christmas, She didn't smoke, so I don't know why I gave her a smoking box there. But anyway, and she got it for me. And I'm like, I got it, and I'm like holding it, dancing around. But what's bad about this is we were actually with my stepdad's family, and there's like 40 people there, and I'm like dancing around in the video like I'm the only one.
Still have this video?
It's somewhere
Oh,
out
I
there.
think we need to see
yes.
It's so embarrassing. Oh my
That
gosh.
sounds awesome.
It's so embarrassing.
I really don't have any.
You don't ever do
embarrassing-
anything embarrassing.
Nah,
Funny.
I think I block it out. It's like too traumatizing, so I don't ever think about it again. I really couldn't think of anything. But yeah, so
The time you didn't make Brussels sprouts for your family.
That's
that was
right.
so
And the Christmas-
And they were like,
embarrassing.
where are the Brussels sprouts?
Christmas
so
was
embarrassing.
ruined.
We do. Our family does this big Christmas Family Olympics every year. It's become
That's
this
fun.
really
Wow.
huge thing. Yeah, it's a big deal. And so one of the games we have the Face the Cookie. Have you ever played that game?
Face the cookie?
Yeah. So you have to put a cookie right here on your
Okay.
face, and then you move your face until
and
it
try to get it in
falls
your mouth.
down
Yes.
to your
Yes,
mouth.
yes,
yes.
So your face just looks really crazy. I think it's hilarious, but my mom has like banned this game from
Really?
the Olympics because it's so embarrassing to her. So I guess that's my mom's most embarrassing
There you
story.
go.
Hopefully she's not listening.
How has all that evolved
this.
now? There's a lot of teenagers like in your
Yeah.
family now. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
I mean, it takes maybe like 4 hours to go through the whole.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like a whole ordeal. We have
Wow.
prizes.
Fun. I mean,
We
this
Do you have,
sounds like a great
like,
okay, do you have opening and closing ceremonies?
yes,
Yes.
Do you make medallions out of
Yes.
yogurt wrappers? Like
not
we did in the
yogurt.
office?
We do. We have like a trophy. Chris and I even did a live draft one time.
That's
because
cool.
we used to do like couples, and then we're like, we're going to switch it up in this year. So we got everybody on a Zoom call, and we did a draft.
funny.
Like,
That is amazing.
anyways, it's become fun over the years. But
That is fun.
That is good. Good.
It
I
is.
might have to steal that.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could get my kids.
should
If
start.
there's prizes involved, they'll get them.
We started it because people had, like my older sisters had little kids, and it was just something fun for the adults to do.
Yeah.
So.
Good
That's
idea.
fun.
Good idea.
Anyways, so lots
Oh, this
of
is just the adults. The kids don't get to play.
no, they do now. They
okay.
do. Like when
Okay.
they were really little, and they couldn't play,
okay.
but now it's a whole family.
They could not
that
play
is-
any reindeer
yeah.
games.
Yeah. So if you want to send your embarrassing Christmas stories
Oh,
our way,
We would love to
share
read
those.
yeah,
your
we'd love to
embarrassing
share
Christmas stories.
those. So if you have any questions or anything you want to share, you can email me at kelly@churchonbayshore.org. And thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to Boggy Talk. We are so glad you joined in the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a beat.